After you've gone a while without someone, sometimes getting them back is fantastic. That's right. I'm finally starting to get back into Big Finish. It has been a while. But I finished up the first box set of the Ninth Doctor Adventures. Christopher Eccleston back as the Doctor. This is the box set called The Ravagers. There might not be a the, it might just be Ravagers. Regardless, that's the one I'm talking about today. So this is a 3-episode box set. And as I said, it marks the return of Christopher Eccleston to the part of the Doctor. It's written by Nicholas Briggs, and if you are familiar with Big Finish, it sure is written by Nicholas Briggs. I kind of feel about Nicholas Briggs the same way I feel about Mark Gatiss for episodes of the show proper, which is that he clearly has a deep love of Doctor Who. However, the things about Doctor Who that he gravitates toward and speak to him creatively and kind of pull his interest are not the same things that interest me. So while his work is by no means bad, and it's certainly not like antithetical to Doctor Who in any ways, it does tend to lean on aspects of Doctor Who that I tend to find less interesting. They obviously interest him, great, but not so much me. I feel that about Gatiss and I feel that about Briggs, and that is a little bit in play here. I feel like, honestly, the scale of the thing is a little bit more than I would have wanted for a first return outing. But again, that's a personal taste thing. And there's a lot of sort of his trappings. He tends to have a really big interest in, mid 20th century England aspects, whether it be pulling out World War II directly or its similarities to, or in this case, we have some stuff set in the 50s. It appeals to him. That's fine. Doesn't to me so much. That's not a massive issue, though. While this is not something that I adored as a piece of fiction in terms of the story it was telling, the story it told was good enough. And then just having Eccleston back in the part and the other characters, that brought it up and made it worth the listen. Eccleston slips right back into this pretty much seamlessly. He doesn't miss a beat. He has gotten right back into that fast-paced sense of trying to find fun, trying to find interest, trying to find the intelligent people around him, but also that sense of damage just beneath the surface of that. The companion for this story is a woman named Nova, who I rather like. I also kind of like some stuff we find out about her at the very end that I'm not gonna... I think I'm going to have a very brief spoiler section at the tail end. It's not a major spoiler. It's not like a twist surprise about like, ooh, you didn't see this coming. I mean, like, it's just an aspect of her character that kind of gets confirmed in the back end that I like. And I think it's fun to just have it come up the way it does rather than no going in. But she's got good rapport with Eccleston. She challenges him in just the right way. She's asking the right questions, the interesting questions. He's acknowledging that she's doing that, but at the same time, he's frequently leaving her behind in the dust as he goes off on technobabble, and his brain is going faster than his mouth can go, and his mouth is going faster than she can follow. But it's still a dynamic that works. Our main villain is a woman by the name of Audrey, who is she's interesting because we deal with her at several different points in her life, which actually technically means we deal with her at a few different ages. And I think a lot of credit goes to the actress who was able to bring a sense of continuity while also giving a pretty clear distinction, usually in the level of jadedness, but also just in the general vocal performance between the different ages that she plays Audrey at. Then we've got a smattering of other characters who are fine. They work well enough. But honestly, what was great about listening to this was just hearing Eccleston play this part again. He really does seamlessly transition back into it. So even if you're like me and Nick Briggs and his particular writing proclivities and preferred themes and elements aren't your favorite thing about Doctor Who, and I mean, like, if they are your favorite thing about Doctor Who, you are going to be the happiest friggin' person ever. But if you're like me and like, they're like, it's fine, but it's not necessarily what the kind of content that excites you about Doctor Who, this is still worth listening to because the characters are well done. One thing I definitely have to give Briggs credit for is he knows how to write for Eccleston's Doctor. And that actually is kind of key because to write the Doctor well, you have to understand the Doctor you're writing for. If you write just generic dialogue and just hand it off to one of the various performers who's been the Doctor, they'll put their own spin on it a little bit, but it's never going to land the same way as it would if you write that version of the Doctor specifically. And Briggs does that. He does capture that voice so that it probably helped and made it easier for Eccleston to just slip back into this so easily. So while Nick Briggs's specific favorite themes and elements of this series aren't the same as mine, he is absolutely really great at that. And even if you're like me and the sorts of stuff that he gravitates towards isn't your favorite stuff in Doctor Who, it's worth it just for Eccleston. So I would still recommend this if you have been missing him even a little bit. So I'm going to have a brief spoiler section, not too lengthy though. I don't really want to give a detailed plot breakdown, but I do want to touch on a couple things. The first is kind of what I alluded to at the front end. I kind of would have preferred if this wasn't a situation that was literally threatening the entire universe. Like, the specific threat that is involved is well done enough. It works. But I mean, like, first outing that we've had for this Doctor in this format, and we're jumping immediately to needs to save the entire universe. You really want to start at 11 like that? Again, I think it's a personal preference thing. I'm not against the Doctor saving the universe, and obviously if he needs to, he should. But at the same time, I guess I just kind of wanted to ease into it a little bit more. I don't know. Again, slight differences in personal preferences as far as that goes. The one little thing that is very much made clear about Nova towards the end that I kind of alluded to before, she's a nerd. She's a sci-fi nerd. And it's why, even though she doesn't have the technical know-how of what he's doing, she's grasping onto the concepts of what's going on, the space travel and the time travel really, really, really quickly. And the reason is she just used to watch a ton of old sci-fi stuff with her father, and she's just used to these ideas. Like that, on paper, that's a basic thing. Make the companion a nerd. Okay. But first of all, it hasn't really been done very much. I'd say, honestly, kind of the closest was Bill Potts. Not that she herself was really much of a nerd, but she did tend to ask the kinds of questions that nerds might. But she herself wasn't really, like, clearly, that kind of person with that kind of background and that kind of interest in entertainment. Nova is. And it's fun. And I like how excited the Doctor gets at the very end when he realizes that about her. He's like, oh, you're a nerd. He could not be happier. And I love that. That's great. That is a wonderful moment. I hope, and I think she does. I hope Nova sticks around for future box sets. She probably does. Like, other box sets are out. I could have looked it up and confirmed that before I sat down and said that thing, but I wanted to get my thoughts out while they were fresh, and that apparently precluded me from doing research. It didn't, but I'm me, so here we are. But I'm going to assume she shows up later, and that excites me because they work really well together. So I do have some more box sets. I don't know how quickly I will get to them. And I don't know if it'll be the next big finish thing I do or if I'll dabble around with some of the other stuff that I have access to. But I'll figure that out. For right now, though, Ninth Doctor Adventures, Ravagers. What'd you think about this one? Have you heard it? Well, I kind of got spoilers, so I hope so. Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon is how I pay the bills around here. If you're able to assist me in any way, shape, or form along those lines, it is of immense help. But even if you can't, like, share, subscribe, those help me out too. I won't give you too much pressure on that. I like to take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. End credits, that means I need to shout out my top Patreon supporters. Robin Moore, Zupin Lutfula, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Oliver B., Linda Walters, Emu Delkey, Leotha Boyd, Toy Loli, Becky Sparks, Renabi Likes the Poodle, Zach, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Adam RDL Taylor, Shay Legorle, Brendan LaRose, and TT. Thank you so much for your support. You can get your name in the credits too by checking out the rewards on the Patreon. You only tried to eat my earring once this time. That's much better.